Hello everybody, today I'm going to be filming a kind of review, demo, wear test on this Chanel Vitalumiére Aqua foundation. And I don't want to call it a first impressions because I've tried it twice and I'm kind of glad that I did, because now I can tell you if you have oily skin, you will need to set this with a powder. The first day that I used it, I just wore it by itself and I was definitely feeling kind of shiny and a little bit greasy throughout the day. And then the second day that I wore it, I set it with a translucent powder, which I will show you, and I felt like it wore much better. If you have really dry skin, I think that you will like this foundation a lot without a powder. So basically this foundation is meant to be a very light coverage foundation, a very natural, skin-like finish, moisturizing, ultra light skin perfecting makeup. Is that it? So it is a very watery foundation. You have to shake it really well or else it kind of like separates. So for me, my favorite way to apply foundations to my oily skin is to use this Gosh Prime and Set Primer and Mattifying Setting Powder. So this is something you can wear under as well as over your foundation. So I'm gonna do both. So I've already shaken it up really good, and because it's so watery, I don't put it on the back of my hand because it would literally just drip off. So weirdly, what I like to do is kind of just like put a bunch of dots all over my face. Now the instructions say to use your fingers to blend it in, which I did on the first day that I tried it, and it worked really well. So definitely you can use your fingers with this foundation. It blends really nicely. But the second day that I tried this foundation, I used a brush. This is the Sephora Pro Flawless Airbrush number 56. And as long as you have a really light hand with it, this works well too. So again, obviously this is a very light coverage foundation. If you are looking for something with more coverage, I don't know if I would really bother with this. For me, this foundation is kind of like if MAC Face and Body had a baby with the Makeup Forever Water Blend foundation. It is moisturizing and a little tad bit greasy feeling, but not in like a greasy, gross way. It's just like very silky and emollient, but it does set down better than the MAC Face and Body. So I find the MAC Face and Body, it like stays really tacky. So I think you guys can tell that that gave very little coverage. I actually really like a low coverage foundation. It does have a little bit of a smell, so if you're sensitive to that, you may want to pass. It kind of reminds me of the smell of the Bourjois Healthy Mix Serum Foundation. I'm just going to add a little bit more. As far as shade goes for me, I don't mind this shade. It does oxidize a little bit. It's nothing too crazy or too orange, but it definitely does get a little bit darker after it dries. This is what it looks like. Like I said, very skin-like. It's not super matte and not super dewy. It's not super tacky. But it's not matte either. It doesn't cling to dry flakes too bad. I mean, it is clinging a little bit in between here, but probably nothing a really good exfoliation wouldn't fix, to be honest. And like I said, definitely set it with a powder if you have combo to oily skin. If you have dry skin, I think you'll like the feeling on its own because it is kind of like there's like a drop of oil in the foundation. Like oil in the good way, not oil in the bad way. My favorite way to apply powder on top of foundation like this is to actually take a barely damp beauty sponge. So this is not like run under tap water. I just spritzed it with this Aven Thermal Spring Water. Put a little bit of that same Gosh mattifying translucent powder in the cap, and then just tap it on my oily parts, which is definitely my T-zone. Now that that is on my face, I think you guys can kind of get a sense of what this foundation is about. It was fairly expensive, but it wasn't as expensive as I thought it was going to be for a Chanel brand. I've never bought anything from Chanel before, and the foundation in Canadian dollars was $52. So that's like not that much more than some of the higher end brands in Sephora. You do get 1 fluid ounce, which is pretty typical. So this is what the foundation looks like. About an hour and a half later, finished my makeup, filmed this very easy makeup look. Very natural, very light. Love it. Hey guys, the foundation has been on for 12 hours now, and I just took my glasses off, but I just wanted you to have a look. Sorry this isn't like my usual setup I film in my living room, and right now people are watching a hockey game and it's like very loud, so it'd be like kind of awkward if I was like, excuse me, I'm just gonna block the TV. For having oily skin and this foundation having zero claims whatsoever to like be mattifying, I actually think it looks really good. I have been out and about today and it looks pretty dang good. I mean, a couple of things I will say. My skin is not quite as oily lately just because it's like literally minus 30 degrees Celsius where I live, so the cold air kind of makes my skin dry out a bit. I mean, I am a little bit shiny, like there's no getting past that, but it's not terrible, and it didn't separate. Like I usually have like big issues with foundation separating, like on my nose, where I do get really oily, but it actually looks pretty good. And I didn't even start looking shiny until about 4 o'clock, and it's 6:45 right now. If you have a super oily skin, I might not recommend this, especially if you want to stay perfectly matte, because obviously I didn't stay perfectly matte. But if you have combo to dry skin, I think you would really like it. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.